Welcome back to the cryptowrld channel, everyone. My name is Josh, and right now, a new warning signal just officially confirmed on this Bitcoin price chart as we have just hours to go before the next Fed meeting, which we need to pay attention to. So I'll be talking about that in just a moment and what it can mean for Bitcoin and crypto moving forward, while Solana is still testing very important support, while the price of Chainlink is flashing a new signal in the short term that we need to pay attention to. So I'll be talking about all of that and more later in the video, so definitely watch to the end. First of all, just before taking a look at the Bitcoin and crypto charts today, we need to talk about the upcoming FOMC meeting, also known as a Fed meeting, which happens in just a matter of hours from now. In fact, this interest rate decision by the Federal Reserve will be happening at exactly 6 p.m. GMT. So you can use that with your own time zone. Once again, at 6 p.m. in the GMT time zone today on the 18th of June. And the current expectation for this Fed meeting is no change in interest rates. So we could see the previous outcome of the previous Fed meeting was 4.5%. As the Fed funds rate on the high end, and the current expectations is 4.5%, and the trading economics forecast also 4.5%. So essentially, the market is pricing in for no change in rates, and we can actually look at that if we're looking at the futures market here, what the market is actually pricing in. Currently, there's a 99.9% chance of no change in interest rates and a 0.1% chance of a 25 basis point rate cut. And so basically, the entire market is pricing in for no change in interest rates today, which means if we somehow see a change in interest rates, either cutting interest rates or increasing interest rates, either way, it would likely see a very volatile move in the markets if we see one of those other outcomes other than no change in interest rates. And all you really need to know is basically the lower interest rates are, the more bullish that is for markets and the economy, and the higher interest rates are, the more bearish that is for markets and the economy. So if we somehow see an interest rate cut, reducing interest rates, then it would likely see a quick pump across the markets. Or on the other hand, if we somehow see an interest rate hike today, would likely see a quick dump across the markets. But once again, everyone is expecting no change in rates today, which means there's a very high chance that we'll see no change in rates today. And once again, that is the neutral outcome because everyone is already pricing that in, which means if we end up seeing no change in interest rates, we'll likely see nothing too significant in terms of movements in the market. But as usual, following the interest rate decision, when this gets released, usually roughly half an hour after the interest rate decision gets released, we have the Jerome Powell press conference. The boss of the Federal Reserve basically asks some questions and gives some insight on what the Federal Reserve is looking at potentially doing in the next few meetings. And so based on what Jerome Powell says in that press conference, that could potentially impact markets in the shorter term. Once again, roughly half an hour to an hour following this interest rate decision, which the interest rate decision comes out at exactly 6 p.m. GMT. And as always, I will be keeping you up to date in real time as this information gets released over on my Twitter. So if you're not already following me over there, check it out. Link below this video in the description and in the pinned comment to my Twitter or my X. And so as always, once again, I'll be sharing this information within a matter of seconds from it being released over on my Twitter. Link below this video. And as always, of course, the only social medias of mine are linked below these videos in the description and in the pinned comment. If anyone else out there tries to comment on one of your comments, for example, in the comment section below this video, basically giving you some sort of WhatsApp number or Telegram group, that is very likely going to be a scammer. So watch out for impersonators out there. My only official social medias are the ones that are actually linked in the description of these videos. But with that being said, taking a look at the Bitcoin charts today, on the weekly time frame, the super trend indicator is still sitting in the green, indicating a larger bull market. And if we're looking at this weekly Bitcoin chart, we're still seeing declining bullish momentum in the weekly Bitcoin MACD. And if we're looking at this weekly Bitcoin chart, of course, we still have a major bearish divergence to watch out for, with higher highs confirmed in the price and lower highs confirmed in the weekly Bitcoin RSI. And so at least for now, based on these weekly timeframes, we're still technically within a bull market. We've not confirmed any bear market or anything like that, but we are losing significant bullish momentum. So we're potentially due to see a bit more of a slowdown in the coming weeks or possibly months. And the 3-day Bitcoin price chart backs this up because we've just now confirmed a bearish crossover in the 3-day Bitcoin MACD, as we could see. And over the last 1 day, we just confirmed a 3-day candle close, which is now officially confirmed this bearish crossover in the 3-day Bitcoin MACD. And so this is a signal, at least on the 3-day time frame, once again, telling us that we're not just losing bullish momentum, but possibly about to start gaining some bearish momentum. In other words, this is pointing towards possibly a little bit more of a correction in the price of Bitcoin at some point in the next few weeks or months, like what we've seen these previous times. As we could see, the previous previous times we've seen a bearish crossover in this indicator or this time frame, we have been due to see a bit more of a slowdown or a correction in the price of Bitcoin for a period of weeks or possibly months. And so once again, we're technically still within a larger bull market if we're zooming out looking at the bigger picture, but just don't be surprised if we see these larger cool-offs along the way during the larger bullish market. And if we're taking a look at this daily Bitcoin price chart, of course, for now, we're still consolidating in this sideways price range in between this important area of support and this area of resistance. First of all, we have this important area of support still sitting at around 101 to 102,000, and this important area of resistance is still sitting in between around 110 to 112,000. And so obviously not a lot has changed on this daily time frame over the last one day. So getting straight into the 4-hour Bitcoin price chart, and clearly over the last 1 to 2 days, obviously we saw that rejection from this area of resistance, which I already talked about over the last couple of days, which was sitting in between around 108,500 to 109,000. And then we came back in for a retest of this previous area of support, and temporarily we did find some support in this region. We did see one 4-hour candle where we actually saw a green candle, a bit of a short-term bounce from this area, but ultimately, obviously, a few candles later, we broke to the downside, confirming a break back below this area on the price chart, which, by the way, was sitting in between around 106 to 107,000. And so the moment we confirmed this break to the downside, confirming a break below 106,000, this, of course, meant that we were very likely going to drop towards the next area of support, sitting in between around 103,500 to 104,000. And obviously, that's exactly what we did. As soon as we confirmed this 4-hour candle close below 106,000, we continue to drop down to that exact area of support. And currently we are bouncing from that area, obviously proving it as support once again, as we've seen many times in the past. And so even just going off this very basic support and resistance here on this 4-hour Bitcoin price chart, we can develop some basic trading strategies to even make profits no matter what direction the price is going, whether we're bullish or bearish. For example, once we actually see a confirmed breakout above a key point of resistance, that could be a long position signal to open a long position and then take profits at the next resistance in order to avoid obviously a rejection from that area. And then, for example, if we break below a key point of support, that could potentially be a short position opportunity to open a short position towards the next area of support along the way towards the downside and then take profits at that next area of support. So just using a basic strategy like that based on this very basic support and resistance here, we can still make profit in the crypto market as crypto traders, whether the price is bullish or bearish. It doesn't matter. And so obviously, if you're simply just holding Bitcoin, this period in the market is very boring because we're basically just consolidating sideways, but there's still ways you can make money during this sideways price action if you actually know what you're doing and if you're looking at the right levels to open and close. But with that being said, taking a look at the Bitcoin liquidation heat map, and currently we still have a lot of liquidity building at close to 111,000 approximately, and also a decent amount starting to build at around 102,500 and also at close to 100,000. So keep that in mind. Those are the key levels to watch out for on the Bitcoin price chart. And when it comes to my Bitcoin trading strategy, over the last one day, it has not changed. Obviously, I'm still in the larger long position, the swing trade long position, as I've been saying every day here on the channel since basically we saw this breakout above 88,000. From that point onwards, I've been saying we're in a bullish trend for the price of Bitcoin and continue to expect more bullish price action. And obviously, since that point, that's exactly played out as predicted. But the point where I would reverse on that bullish trend and actually start flipping more bearish again on the trend, not just these short-term pullbacks, but expecting more of a bearish trend on the daily time frame, I would only start doing that if we actually confirm a break below around 101 to 102,000, this key area of support here. And so due to that reason, of course, I'm still in the long position, and right now funding rates are relatively close to zero, which means I'm paying almost no funding to actually stay in this position, almost no fees to keep this position open. And of course, I have my stop loss still sitting at the same level it was sitting at over the last few days, just below this key point of support, so that it's likely will bounce before hitting the stop loss. But if we were to actually confirm a break below the area of support, in that situation, once again, there'll be a breakdown in the price structure, and that will just get me out of the trade automatically at that level where the stop loss is sitting at. And then from time to time during this long position, of course, I have taken some profits here and there out of the trade. Like for example, around here, I took a small amount of profits. More recently, around here, I took profits at around 110,000, considering we were running into strong resistance right there. But once again, over the last one day, I've really made no new changes to this trading strategy, no changes to this position. And as always, if you want to take trades just like this for yourself to make a lot of easy profits in the crypto market, you have to be set up ready to go on a crypto exchange. And personally, I'm taking this trade right here over on 2bit. So I'll make sure to leave a link to 2bit below this video in the description and in the pinned comment. And if you use that link, it'll take you to this page right here where you can claim some massive trading bonuses. Like for example, up to $50,000 you can claim using the link below this video just by trading crypto. But if you're not one of these larger traders here, you can also get a $30 sign up bonus and a 20% deposit rebate up to a max of 200 USDT. So for example, if you deposit $1,000, you get a $200 bonus, but only if you use that link. And in case you're wondering, 2bit is a no KYC exchange, which means you can access it from basically any country in the world without needing any KYC. But as always, check your local regulations when it comes to trading crypto. And for whatever reason, if you don't want 2bit as an exchange, there's also BTNX as another exchange out there that I also trade on. So I'll also make sure to leave a link to BTNX below this video. And if you use that link, you can also get some massive trading bonuses over here as well. Like for example, up to $45,000 you can actually claim using the link below this video just by trading crypto. But once again, if you're not one of these larger traders here, you can also get deposit bonuses. Like for example, if you deposit just $1,000, you get a $200 bonus into your BTNX account. But once again, only if you use that link. So if you're going to be trading crypto anyway, or if you're preparing to take the next trading opportunity, you might as well get set up ready to go using the links below this video to take advantage of these massive bonuses. And in case you're wondering, BTNX is also a no KYC exchange. But with that being said, taking a look at Ethereum on the daily time frame, and currently Ethereum is still trading in this sideways price range, just chopping around sideways between support and resistance. Of course, we still have significant support at close to 2.4k and some short-term support at roughly 2.5k and significant resistance in between 2.7k to around 2.8k. And if the price of Ethereum were to actually confirm a break below around 2.4k approximately, especially breaking below these lows just here, in that situation, the next price target, the next major point of support towards the downside would be sitting at roughly 2.1k. But obviously for now, we're still holding above 2.4k, which means we're still in the sideways price range, just chopping around sideways between support and resistance. And if we're taking a look at this daily Ethereum price chart, of course, we still have a bearish divergence to watch out for, which is technically confirmed. We've not yet confirmed any invalidation signal to invalidate the bearish divergence. So we still currently have higher highs confirmed in the price and lower highs confirmed in the daily Ethereum RSI. And so as I've been saying, since this actually confirmed right around here, I've been saying we should not be expecting any significant bullish momentum anytime soon. And instead, we're most likely going to see either a little bit more of a pullback in the price or at best some choppy sideways price action. So I continue to expect that moving forward, at least in the somewhat shorter term here for the coming days or possibly weeks. But honestly, not a lot has changed for Ethereum over the last one day. So getting straight into the price of Solana on the daily time frame, and it's a similar situation for Solana. We're still in a bit of a sideways price range, but Solana is currently testing very important support, which is still sitting in between around 143 to 146. And obviously previously we've seen many important bounces and also previous rejections from this exact area on the price chart. So this is definitely a significant price range to pay attention to. And so this means that if we actually see a confirmed break with a daily candle close, for example, confirming below 143, in that situation, that would be very bearish for the price of Solana, at least in the somewhat shorter term for the following days or possibly weeks following that break. And in that situation, it's very likely we'll see a continued dump in the price of Solana down towards this next point of support, sitting at around 124 to 125 as the next significant level of support. But below that level, if we fail to hold that as support, we'd likely see a dump potentially back down towards roughly $100 as the next significant area of support. But obviously for now, as I've recorded in this video, we've not yet confirmed a break below this area in between 143 to 146. We're still just testing this area, which means there's still a possibility, of course, we could hold this as support and just see another bounce like what we've seen many times over the last few weeks and months. But of course, this is definitely something to pay attention to in the shorter term for the price of Solana. And if we were to actually see a bounce here, we do have short-term resistance at roughly around 158, give or take, and significant resistance at around 167. And if we're zooming into the shorter term, taking a look at the 6-hour Solana price chart. For now, obviously, we're just about to officially invalidate this bullish divergence. First of all, it already played out very nicely for a couple of days, give or take, in the form of a short-term bullish relief, followed by a little bit of choppy sideways price action. But ultimately, now that we're starting to break below these lows, and especially starting to see a bit of a breakdown here in the RSI, and especially if we break below this line in the RSI, that will officially invalidate the bullish divergence, which means, of course, it's no longer playing out. But obviously, as I've said many times recently here on the channel, we should not be expecting any significant bullish momentum anytime soon in the short term for the price of Solana and really for the overall crypto market, because Bitcoin is showing signs of losing bullish momentum. And if Bitcoin is losing bullish momentum, showing a lack in bullish momentum, we should not be expecting significant bullish momentum for the rest of the altcoin market, because usually altcoins tend to only perform really well once Bitcoin is performing pretty well. And with Bitcoin now losing steam, obviously, this is not really helping the altcoin market, at least in the short term. And if we're taking a look at the price of XRP on the daily time frame, it's a similar story for XRP. Obviously, the price is clearly lacking momentum to either direction. So yes, we could see little short-term bullish moves, short-term bearish moves, but currently we are seeing almost no momentum to either direction. And this is exactly what I've been saying for almost a week now on the channel. Obviously, the MACD indicator on the daily time frame is extremely flat for the price of XRP, showing almost no momentum to either direction, which is pointing towards more choppy sideways price action. So basically a continued sideways consolidation for the price of XRP in the shorter term as the most likely outcome. And obviously, ever since I've been saying this over the last 1 week or so, this is exactly what has been playing out as predicted. And the sideways price range that we're in is really in between roughly $2.05 to around $2.35. So in that range, we're basically just bouncing around sideways. But for as long as you know the range that we're in, and for as long as you think we're going to stay in this range for at least a little longer, you can actually make a lot of easy profits during a sideways price range just like this. And if you want to know how to do that, then stick around to the end of this video to find out more. But honestly, not a lot has changed for the price of XRP over the last 1 day. So without repeating myself and without wasting your time, getting straight into the price of Chainlink on the daily time frame. And currently Chainlink is testing this very important level of support, sitting at roughly $12.80. And we can see that in the past, especially recently, we've seen multiple important bounces from this important Fibonacci level of support at $12.80. But if we confirm a break with a candle close, for example, on the daily time frame below $12.80, in that situation, it would likely see at least a drop down towards the lower $12 area, around $12.10 to $12.20 as the next support. But if we fail to hold that support, especially if we break below around $12, in that situation, we'll likely see a continued dump, likely below $11, in between $10 to $11 as the next significant area of support. And so obviously, at least in the somewhat shorter term for the price of Chainlink, it's very important we hold this as support at $12.80, because once again, if we fail to hold this as support, at least in the shorter term for the following days or possibly weeks, this would be bad news for Chainlink. And as for resistance, in case we see another short-term bounce here, expect resistance at roughly $14.10 to $14.20, and also significant resistance in between $14.90 to $15.50, especially that $15.50 level acting as very strong resistance, as I've warned about many times here on the channel since before these perfect rejections here. But if we're zooming into the shorter term, taking a look at the 4-hour Chainlink price chart, we have a possible bullish divergence that is forming, that is flashing on the price chart, but is not yet confirmed. So clearly we have lower lows, which are now confirmed. Lower lows have been confirmed in the price action in the candle closes, but higher lows are just currently forming and not confirmed in the RSI on the 4-hour Chainlink price chart. And so what we need to see in order to actually confirm a higher low and confirm the bullish divergence is we need to see some sort of bounce like this confirm in place in the RSI. And because the RSI by default goes off candle closes, essentially we need to see at least a couple of candle closes here in the price in the green, confirming in the green to actually confirm some sort of bounce like this in the RSI. And then if we see that, of course, that would confirm the bullish divergence, pointing towards a little bit more of a relief over the next couple of days or so. But I want to make it clear, at least for now, this possible bullish divergence that is flashing in the short term is not currently confirmed. It is not playing out. We're still waiting for confirmation to potentially confirm this signal. And once again, as I said near the beginning of the video, we do have that upcoming Fed meeting happening in a matter of hours from now, which could potentially cause some volatility in the short term. So keep that in mind as well. And as always, if you want to trade any of these moves in the price of any crypto, check out the links below this video to those exchanges if you want to claim those massive bonuses that are only available using those links. And if you want to actually know how you can trade these moves, no matter what direction the price is doing, to make a lot of profits like what I'm doing right now, then make sure to watch these videos popping up right here on your screen. The video in the top left shows you how you can profit from bullish or bearish price action using long positions or short positions, and the video in the bottom left shows you how you can easily profit from choppy sideways price action in a sideways price range. But with that being said, that is everything that I have to say for today, and as always, I'll see you all in the next video.